Triggered yet? I'm a woman. I'm a minority wearing a MAGA hat. Triggered yet? Better yet, I have a Robert E. Lee statue next to me. Triggered yet? If you are, then turn this video off now. I'm so sick and tired of the liberals talking about the right being the party of violence. I'd just like to give a little bit of information about the left wing and how violent they are. We can go back to their first president, Andrew Jackson. Yes, I know Trump likes him. I don't agree with Trump on this. Because Andrew Jackson, if you called his wife ugly, he'd fight you in a duel. And he removed the 5 civilized tribes off their land despite having a Supreme Court ruling saying that they could stay on their land. It's called the Indian Removal Act. So, you know, if you can't remove a president for defying the Supreme Court, what can you remove a president for? The first Democrat president should have been impeached and removed. Next, we have the first Republican president, Abraham Lincoln. I don't like him either. But let's face the facts. He was assassinated by John Wilkes Booth, a Democrat, a Virginian and a Democrat. After the Civil War, well, right at the end, he kills Lincoln. At the end of the Civil War, the Ku Klux Klan, Jim Crow. All of that is Democrats. Now, Democrats are still racist today and sexist today. The only thing is they're not wearing their hoods anymore. They've disposed of those. They're racist in a much smarter way, like calling Kanye West for wearing a MAGA hat, calling him crazy, saying he's left the Democrat plantation, that he needs his meds, insinuating that there's something wrong with people with mental health issues. You know, again, racist. If I took Don Lemon and the racist things that he and his friends said on CNN and I put white hoods over them like Mark Dice did, you would swear you were listening to a Klan meeting. And by the way, Don Lemon has a white boyfriend, so maybe he's a self-hating black man. More recent history, Lee Harvey Oswald. Not a stretch to say he's not a Republican. He's not a right-winger. You know, Russia, he went to Russia, got a wife from Moscow, came back, had a Cuban socialist connection. So again, not the right wing causing violence in this country, political violence. You know, Martin Luther King was not killed by a Republican. He was killed by a Democrat. Now, the word mob has been a bad word on CNN and other liberal websites or liberal news outlets. It's the M word, like the N word, only it's the M word. Mob. So let's take the word mob and let's break it down. I have the definition of mob. So mob as a noun, a large crowd of people, especially one that is disorderly, kind of like Antifa, and intent on causing trouble or violence, like Antifa and liberal activists. As a verb, mob is a verb, crowd around someone in an unruly and excitable way to admire or attack. Now, I could have mobbed Alyssa Milano, me and a bunch of people, and asked for her autograph in an admiring way. Although there's nothing to admire about a washed-up old hag who can't get any work anymore. So she's got to be an activist. Or there's the mob to cause trouble, like crowding around someone in an elevator or an airport or forcing them out of restaurants, and white kids forcing a Cuban out of a restaurant. Really? That is so racist. That is so 1960s when the Democrats were refusing to serve black people in their restaurants. I tell you, these Democrats. Hillary Clinton last week saying, oh, well, you don't have to be civil to people who disagree with you. I wonder if she says that to her friends, you know, the Bush family that she pals around with, and they fuck Haiti together, you know, rape and rob that country, literally and figuratively. Or I wonder if Speedy Gonzalez, you know who Speedy Gonzalez is, the one with the little burrito mustache and the little nose, little turned up nose there. What's his name? Eric Holder. When they go high, we kick them. Well, when Antifa decided to go kick some Proud Boys around, by the way, I love you, Proud Boys, they lost. They were on the ground and they were getting kicked. So they were low and getting kicked. Following Eric Holder's advice, when they go low, you kick them in the face. So they were only taking Eric Holder's advice. Or Maxine Waters is giving out bad advice to get in people's faces. Because when you get in people's faces, they're going to defend themselves. And just like when people say, oh, but Donald Trump, he said, get that son of a bitch. Punch him. I'll pay your legal bills if you hit him back. Now, Donald Trump was saying this at his rallies, which is why you have it on film. You also have it on film, and Project Veritas, James OKeefe, has verified this by his groundbreaking underground research into the Democrat Party, and that they were paying people to bird dog, which means that they were going and starting fights at Trump rallies, trying to get Trump supporters to become violent with them by any means necessary, or BAM, as the woman in California likes to call it. I don't even know her name. It's not worthy of mentioning anyway. But they do use that word, BAM, by any means necessary, to get a Republican or a Trump supporter to become violent. In other words, throw the first punch and then start recording when they throw the defensive punch, when they go to defend themselves. So what Trump was saying was he was telling security there was someone in the crowd starting a fight to get that person and get them out of the crowd. He also told the people that were getting attacked, if you defend yourself, I will pay your legal bills. Because if I was a leader giving a speech and I saw my people being attacked and I had the money to pay their legal bills for self-defense, I would do it too. And, when I saw Antifa in Portland blocking the streets and telling people, turn this way, and the driver says, why? And she said, because I said so. Well, that's the flaw in Antifa. You're wearing black, you're carrying weapons, and you're exerting your authority over other people, authority which you do not have. And I love the fat white boy in the camo pants. That his ass is about as big as a hippo, and he's a white guy, and he's yelling at the other white guy, because you're white, you should go kill yourself. Well, you and Chelsea Handler, who holds the sign that says white people should kill themselves, you should lead by example. Please kill yourself. That's your advice. I'm just saying you may as well follow your own advice. If you're going to preach it, you got to, if you're going to tell, say that people got to do it, you got to lead by example. And then, to talk about Charlottesville. Well, Charlottesville was a rally to support the monuments, to keep our monuments up. I am a history person. I'm a history buff. I love artwork. You can see I have artwork on the walls, on the wall right behind me. I collect artwork. I'm a history lover. I have a Robert E. Lee statue. I have busts and statues all over my house. So I don't like to see artwork torn down because the statues are, first, very lovely works of art. Secondly, if you don't like the people, put up a sign and put context up. I think that would be fine. If you want to stand in front of a statue and yell at it and spit at it, knock yourself out. That's your freedom of expression. My freedom of expression is I like art and I like history. We have a man in Virginia by the name of Tim Kaine, Hillary Clinton's running mate. He's running for Senate. Unfortunately, he is ahead and he will probably win because Northern Virginia is full of soy people who work in D.C. who vote liberal. So as one little piece of the state goes, so goes the whole frickin' state. I'd like to see an electoral college in Virginia. But the thing is Tim Kaine, as I like to call him, Chuckles the Clown, because he looks like a clown, or his face looks kind of like someone who would be a pedophile, and he has some sort of weird sexual arrangement with his wife, like an open marriage or something, or I don't know what's going on in that marriage, but his wife don't want to sleep with him. Probably because he likes little boys. I don't know. I'm just saying, you know, that's the creepy vibe I get from him. So if you want to vote for him, that's fine. But Tim Kaine says we have to fight them in the streets. Now, I would take Tim Kaine at the word. Okay, protest, you know, maybe, you know, got to fight them at the ballot box. But Tim Kaine's son is in Antifa. See, he don't talk about the son. He talks about the son who's in the service. But he don't talk about the little boy that is in Antifa. That we have mugshots of him when he was arrested in other states for committing acts of violence against political people he didn't agree with. So Tim Kaine literally means to attack people like me, conservative people, right-wing people, people who don't think like him. For me wearing a MAGA hat, he would say I should be attacked. For, you know, if you have a Trump bumper sticker, he'd probably say, yeah, ram her car, vandalize her car, and I'll pay your bill. Because that's what that man stands for. Unfortunately, our candidate had a tough primary a couple years ago against Gillespie. I call him Giuseppe. I hate him. Of course, he's not as bad as Cuccinelli, who embarrassed Virginia, by the way, at the Republican convention by opposing Donald Trump on the floor of the convention. That was totally embarrassing. I said, I will never vote for Ken Cuccinelli again, and I promise you, if that man ever tries to run for something again, I will never vote Cuccinelli because he's an embarrassment to Virginians. That being said, don't vote for Kaine. I don't care who you vote for, just don't vote for that one. Vote third party, vote Green Party, vote lesbian party. I don't care. Vote for Cory Stuart, please. He's not a racist. I have met the man. He wants lower taxes. He wants to be able to expand Medicaid, but to pay for it. You know, he wants good things for us in Virginia, and he is not the monster that people have painted him out to be. And I will talk a little bit more about Robert E. Lee in my next video. And some of the things Trump has said at his rallies, and about witches. See you in a few.